All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. This is a amazing opportunity for our Sage 500 customer base to learn a little bit about Acumatica using a wonderful resource that they have allowed us access to. We're going to run through some high-level items about the product itself, and then really jump into an agenda we've set for you with a demo from Unsel Randall. He is an amazing resource, and we've worked with him a bunch of times. This is our lineup today. The guy in the middle there you might be familiar with. He's definitely your point of contact with E2B. And the two flanking him are going to be your MC and your technical advisor. So I'm going to jump right into bear with me here. A couple of the main points that differentiate this particular cloud-based system from many others is this idea of the remote access and AI machine learning. You know, Acumatica is a champion of this leading edge technology. Um, the remote access helps workers connect anywhere at any time, and that's moves at the speed of business, they say. The AI machine learning piece and automation, like AP documentation or recognition, reduces redundant tasks, frees up employees for more strategic work. We're really focused on solving problems continually and bringing innovations to the market in a very meaningful way. And you'll see that with the demonstration that we're about to jump right into. With that, my short little spiel, I'm going to turn it over to our technical advisor here, Mr. Munsell, and he will run you through a demo of the product, and I'll let him kind of give his lead in before jumping into the agenda slide.
All right, great. Hi, so I'm Munsell Randall. I'm with Acumatica, and I'm located in Columbus, Ohio. So for just not far down the road from the rest of the E2B team, and been in the manufacturing space for a couple decades, specifically mid-size to small manufacturing, and looking forward to showing you the great tool that is Acumatica. Now, did you want to share the agenda now, Josh? Perfect. Okay. And so I'm going to show you, I'm going to discuss, basic product introduction, emphasize that we do certainly have a mobile app, talk about setting up bills of material, and the fact that we also support engineering change notices, engineering change orders with that, production order processing capability, scheduling, MRP, and then Acumatica um, has a full lot tracking and lot traceability capability here. So I'm going to go ahead. Should I go ahead and share my screen now? Would you like me to do that?
Yes, sir. Yes, let me. I think you should have capability. Let me know if that's an issue.
Okay, let's see.
Let's do it. Make a co-host. Here we go. Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, one on a link. Gotta press the right button. Share, share, share. And there, and share. Okay,
Perfect.
so let me know. Are you seeing my production meeting
I got you.
dashboard right now?
Yep.
Okay, great. And for the folks that are on here, feel free to ask questions. Would like to make this as interactive as possible. No reason why not to. And so if you've got a question or comment or anything, just jump right in. You don't have to be too formal. Raise hand or do any of those kind of things. You can just take yourself off mute and just jump right in with a question. All right. So I'm assuming that most of you here haven't actually seen Acumatica, so I'm going to kind of just highlight on a couple of the basic things, and then we'll jump into some of the things that are manufacturing specific. So it is a cloud-based solution. So what you're looking at right here, let me go ahead and clean up my bookmarks here a little bit. No, made the whole thing. So hold on a second. Anyway, so it is a browser-based application, and from that standpoint, you can see this on. I'm using Chrome, but you can use any particular Chrome, Edge, any of the other solutions that are out there for browsers. Um, and it is role based as well. So I'm going to scooch when I see me doing my mouse. I'm just scooching the panel thing out of the way there for a second. Okay. So now I happen to be logged in as admin. So hopefully you can see the little red box that I just drew there. I'm logged in as admin. So basically what that means is I'm showing you everything. So just to, every once in a while, I show the presentation and I show all the menus and things like costing and all of that. And then inevitably somebody asks me a question. Well, gosh, can we make sure that certain people can't see certain things? Acumatica is a complete role-based solution. So we have roles for just about every possible conceivable member in the organization. And you might have a role that specifically limits somebody to see, say, production information or bill of material information or manufacturing information, but maybe they won't see the cost associated with it. So I just want to kind of head that off so you didn't get too concerned about that. Over on this side over here, this role based will determine, and my mouse is playing hooky on me. Where are you, mouse? Okay. Okay, there we go. There's my mouse back. Okay. Over here is our menu. And so these would be the various different areas, depending upon um, what you get licensed with Acumatica. I'm going to be showing you, Joshua just kind of highlighted how everything we're showing you is out of the box, right? So I'm not showing you any third-party solutions. I'm showing you Acumatica right out of the box. So everything in here is part of the solution. And specifically, where we'll spend a bunch of our time will be on things like inventory, bills of material, production orders, planning, otherwise known as MRP. So those will be kind of like our main areas that we'll jump into. That's kind of the core of our manufacturing. Acumatica does also support a configurator, and Acumatica also does support estimating. But I'm going to kind of focus on these first four areas up top here. And a couple other things to mention while we're at it here, just kind of talking about the overall space. I'm going to go into one of these workspaces here. So here would be a workspace. Here happens to be the inventory workspace. And now I happen to be showing you everything. So one of the things that folks, when you go from one system to another, one of the things that kind of is in your mind is, well, how do I make things simple for my users? I don't want to necessarily see all these menus. So a couple things we can do. First off, this little gear button up here, I can turn on or off. So I've said I wanted to see everything. All right. So you can hide things that you don't want people to see or that you don't wish to see yourself. Another thing you can do is you can very easily create these little widgets for certain things that you do on a regular basis. So let's just make the buttons bigger, right? A couple other things you can do, obviously, very simply. You can put this little star right here beside things, and this opens up the whole favorites. So over here is my favorites menu, and here are all the favorites that I like to know about, right? So, I like to know about, production, stock items, bills of material, production orders, printing production tickets, rough cut planning, um, regenerating MRP, all of those kind of things. Those are kind of like my big favorite buttons. And then here might be a specific area. Maybe I'm interested in things specifically to production orders. So we recognize that in the small to medium size mid market of manufacturing, we recognize that people sometimes have to cover a lot of areas and they don't just get to stay in one small little area. So as long as you give an individual roles and permissions, they could be in production orders. They could also be looking at bills of material. And then within, say, bills of material, maybe they can just view, because maybe your engineer is in charge of your bills and material, but maybe you want the folks in manufacturing to be able to view those. So you can get down to that level of granularity of setting that all up. And that's all comes down to using the workspaces, using the using the roles that are there. A couple other things I like to show up here, and this is, you'd look at this little box up here where my cursor is, where it just says search, and you think, oh, big deal. Sure, they got a search button, but I really want to emphasize for you is this is a universal search. So no matter where I happen to be, so let's say I've got a part number that sends it's called housing. That it's a part number called housing. And so, boom, right off the bat, I don't necessarily have to know everything there is to know. I just know, oh, it starts with housing. I remembered it somewhere. And then by clicking on that, it says, oh, there's the component in question. And it's going to take me right to the necessary screen. It's going to open up the stock item form for the AM housing part number. So I just want to emphasize with the universal search, you will be surprised how often, for those folks of you that move to Acumatica, how much that is an important element of your everyday life. And I say that because prior to being, doing presentations like this, I've also helped implement dozens upon dozens of customers to Acumatica, and I can say for a fact they use this universal search a lot. And so if I can just get that, it's up right up here. Okay. So with that in mind, let's talk a little bit about when you implement a system like Acumatica, one of the things you're going to do, one of the things you're going to do is you're going to be looking at part numbers, right? You're going to be bringing over your part numbers. So I could see a list if I wanted to of all of my stock items here. And this right here is what's known as a generic inquiry. It is, I could say, it's kind of the meat and potatoes of your view of Acumatica data. So I have, say, in this particular case, stock items. You can move these columns around. Let's say that you look at this and you say, there's this thing called posting class. Okay, that's fine. That's interesting for the accountants, but I'm not an accountant. I want to move it. I want it way like over here, just like that. You've just personalized your view of the data, and you didn't have to be a programmer to do that. You just move things around, and you haven't changed anything. You've just made your view of data more comfortable for how you like to digest things. All of these can be personalized. And so this is an example of a generic inquiry. And if it looks like an Excel spreadsheet, that's because, hey, look what I can do here. Right from here, I can easily click this Excel button and I can take all of this information that's in this inquiry and I can just dump it right out to Excel and then do whatever it is you like to do out in Excel with it. So just to let you know about that. So let's zoom down into a particular item that I like to highlight. And this is my manufactured item. So a couple different things that are really, straightforward with this. There's a lot here. I don't want to go field by field, but I do want to kind of highlight here that we do definitely support all of your manufacturing capabilities. So we can support obviously your part numbers for all of your components. We can support your part numbers for all of your sub-assemblies. We can support your part numbers for all of your finished goods. So yeah, pretty much covers the gamut of things. So obviously with Acumatica, you would bring in all of your part numbers. And then for the ones that are manufactured, we're going to dive down into the bill of materials side of things here in a second. But a couple other things that we make life a little easier on you is we have this concept of an item class. And without getting into all the granular details of it, basically it's a way of categorizing your items. I mean, we obviously have customers sometimes who have tens of thousands of part numbers. And it gets, that's a lot to keep track of. So an item class lets you kind of say, well, these items have these attributes, these items have these attributes, these items have a different set of attributes. For example, one thing that you might want to do is you might want to say all things within a certain item class all have a certain unit of measure. So, maybe each is my unit of measure. And then you can also get down here and you can get fancy with this and you can say, well, here are my predefined conversion factors. So when I put them in a box of 10 or when I put them on a pallet, that's what these are. So maybe I've got a certain item that always gets shipped on a pallet. And it's not just that item, but let's say I've got a whole family of items or a whole class of items. So unit of measure is key, obviously, in a manufacturing system. And then we got all kinds of stuff here. We got some stuff for the accountants, right? evaluation method, tax categories, posting classes, for those cost accountants of you that are out there, we've got you covered. And then I think one of the things that Joshua wanted me to make sure that I emphasize here was lot tracking. So we have lot tracking capability throughout. So that's key. And so with that in mind, that's kind of that's a little bit about the item. I wanted to kind of draw your attention to that. Now, Acumatica has a mobile app that shares all of this data. Um, so we want to let you know that Acumatica, you can access all of this inventory data, all of your bill of material data, all your production data, all of your sales data, again, with proper permissions. You can access all of this with the free Acumatica mobile app. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just, and then the information, if it's available on the browser here, it's available in an app-friendly view on, say, your phone or your tablet or any of those kind of things. So I just kind of want to emphasize that, or don't want to forget that.
So,
Okay.
Munsell, one
Yes, sir.
question on that. So you can actually do transactions on that mobile app?
Yeah, you sure can if you have the right permissions. Yes.
Okay. So that would include inventory and some manufacturing transactions?
Definitely manufacturing transactions. So you could scan in, and I'm going to be showing you say like a production ticket, and
Mhm.
a production ticket can have barcoding labels already on it, and then you can use that to scan material against a production order. You could scan labor, you could scan pieces completed. Yep, that certainly is available as part of the mobile app. Yep.
Okay, great. Yeah, because in Sage 500, that's it's a lot of work to get that kind of stuff in. So this, yeah, sounds like it'd be much easier.
Oh, it's a total no-brainer in Acumatica. I mean, the app's already there. All you got to do is just basically install it on your phone
Mhm.
and provide the appropriate URL and the appropriate login permissions. And then, as an IT person, I bring that up every time I do this. Somebody in IT goes like, "Oh my gosh! I mean, people can get on their phone and do what?" So yes, so you can also the IT folks. There's all the various different authentication things that they can put in to make sure that only the right people are logged in and seeing information. We use the various different things like your face ID and all of those. So it's very modern, very up to date.
And that's actually like an Acumatica module that is available
The
if you have the manufacturing edition.
so the mobile app is part of Acumatica.
Okay.
Yeah, the mobile app is across the board, so you can view, whatever it is you can view here. So all of this stuff that's over here on my dashboard, I can see dashboards, I can see data views, I can see inventory, bills of material, production orders, purchases, projects, sales orders, time and expenses, finance. I can see all of that stuff. Some of the stuff is not as intuitive to do on there, like like maybe I don't know if our product configure. I don't know if you can run a product configurator from the mobile app, but just about everything else is there, and you don't. It's just part of Acumatica, and then depending upon whatever you're licensed for, you would have access to that. So let's say that you get Acumatica and you're not licensed for manufacturing. I mean, everybody on this call pretty much is, but let's say you weren't. Well, then you wouldn't see the manufacturing. You wouldn't see the bills of material. You wouldn't see the production orders. You wouldn't see the inventory. But as soon as you're licensed for those, they're available on the mobile app.
That's great. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, because with Sage, it's an add-on, and it's a a different company, that does that. So it's a difficult thing. And this is just built right into Acumatica, so that's awesome.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep, yep. Okay, give me a second here. Oh, yeah, Josh, sorry about that. I was so excited. I was gonna mirror my phone and show him that, but my screen mirroring thing, how you do how you mirror your phone onto your TV downstairs to show
Yep.
something.
Yeah.
I was with my granddaughter the other day, and we were watching some silly YouTube video, and we were mirroring it. And it was working, and now for some reason my mirror is not working. So I can show you silly kid videos, but I can't mirror my work phone. So unfortunately, I was going to show them that. But yeah, the mobile app is completely free and very easy to very easy to deploy.
Great. Thank you.
There's actually nothing you have to do to deploy it. So once you get Acumatica, and you'll notice, being the SaaS solution, right? Once you get your URL to Acumatica, you have that same URL is used to access from the mobile app as well. So there's nothing, you don't have to install anything
There's
on
not,
your side
yeah,
to
a
make
bunch
it
of
happen. Yeah.
look at. Oh, good,
Yeah.
good. That's great.
Okay, so throughout Acumatica, you've got the ability to attach all kinds of notes that you might find that are beneficial, to track the various different kinds of activities. Like it doesn't usually happen on like items, but let's say you had an email thread going on, but about a particular bill of material or a particular item. All of those things you could add emails, tasks, events, all of that kind of stuff. It usually makes a little bit more sense in kind of like the customer service side of things. But and then of course you can attach any kind of files. So drawings, PDFs, various different any document that basically you can attach. So like here's a drawing that somebody sent us one time. So and you actually are installing that in the database. So now you can also, if you want, there is the ability to add a link. Some people think, well, I want to put it on another server and I want to link Acumatica to that. You can do that as well. And then you could even potentially upload using the mobile app. So you could take a picture of something and just upload it via the app as well. So that's a big thing. Okay. So all throughout. So a couple different things here, just real quick. In Acumatica, I'm going to be drawing your attention to the bill of material. Here's the bill of material ID. Now, in my particular demo environment, my bill of material is just a sequential number, bill of material 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now you can make the bill of material ID match your part number. Some people find that's, I find it 6 of one, half dozen of another when you get implemented. You've got all the other various different things like keeping track of your warehouses, keeping track of who your preferred vendors are. If you want to put in cross references, my part number is AM9000. My customer's part number is Brass Key AM9000, or my vendor's part number is AXJ123. So you've got all of that. And then when you see the term in Acumatica inventory planning, just kind of substitute the phrase MRP, material requirements planning. So we have all of the various capabilities. You can run MRP and it can generate, a plan for you. And it can take into consideration, things like what's my safety stock, what's my reorder point, what's my minimum, what's my maximum based upon my lot size. Give me recommendations, what I should buy or what I should make. So we got y'all covered from there. All right, let's turn a little bit now and let's take a look at a bill of material. So here would be a list, again, a generic inquiry, a list of all of the bill of materials that I've got. And so here is my one particular one here, my bill of material 20, revision A. Acumatica does support revision tracking, and we can also do engineering change orders against revisions and create revisions. So we've got that capability there. And then here, of course, here is our part number. Now, for you engineering type folks out there, engineering manager type folks, we do work with two of the very best solutions out there for integrating with various different CAD systems. So there's a CAD Talk and a CAD Link. If you want to take your CAD, AutoCAD, or your Inventor files, and you want to integrate them in with Acumatica, we certainly have that covered. We have got, I would say, most of our manufacturing customers are using some kind of a CAD system, so that certainly is an option. Now I'm showing you just Acumatica bill of material all by itself. So a couple things. Again, go back to notes up here. This is a note that's specific to the bill of material. and then maybe even some files up here. Again, go back to what we were talking about earlier, would be things like drawing numbers and maybe any other, maybe some things out here, you name it. Here I've got, if you've got the tool on your end, we can display it, right? So somebody will ask one time, well, what about this file format? Well, if you've got that tool to open that file on your computer, then it's just really a matter of of you just clicking on it. So just want to kind of, and this is just some JPEGs, some PNGs, and some PDFs. Okay. All right, and in Acumatica, the bill of material and routing is broken up into three main areas. The top is basic information about what the item is. Specific is what revision it is and what is its status. So this particular bill of material is a standard bill of material revision A, and it is active. And here is its start date, and there is no end date. So this is the current bill of material, and we don't have an end date for it. But Acumatica does support revisions. So if you needed to have multiple revisions, we certainly can support that. And then, like I said, we have an engineering change notice, engineering change order, and engineering change request capability to manage that if you wish. All right. And then in the middle, we have what's traditionally known as a routing. And I highlight how the routing is embedded within the bill of material in Acumatica. So in here, in my particular case, I'm saying my first operation is operation 10 is the WC40 work center. I'm doing some cutting. I'm going to take an hour to set it up, and then I'm going to be able to do 4 pieces in 50 minutes. And then we've got all kinds of other capabilities. Like, if you're getting in fancy stuff with like scheduling, you could do like queue time, finish time, move time. And then a big time saver for some folks, if you're familiar with the term, is we do support backflushing of labor. And then we've got a whole scrap capabilities. And then we have a concept of control points to manage the transition to manufacturing. So a lot of engineering folks are kind of leave the routing up to the manufacturing team, and the manufacturing and the engineering folks are usually interested in the the materials. So the materials down here, this section down here, there's actually a little bit more going on than just materials, but this would be your bill of material, right? So here's a sheet metal, 10 gauge sheet metal. I need 1.45 pounds of it. It's $25 a pound, so therefore my planned cost from a costing standpoint is $36.25. Again, going back to permissions, right? If you have the appropriate permissions, you're going to see this costing information. If you don't, you wouldn't see that. Okay, and we've also got all kinds of other things. We do support we do support phantom routings. So if you're into phantoms, we support those. Oh, that was supposed to be a box. Okay. We also handle subcontracting. All right. So, and then we also have the whole concept of backflushing again. Let me just contact just real quick on the whole subcontracting. Acumatica has a excellent outside processing capability. Very, very, very nice. And I'm saying this coming from some other ERPs before that were supposed to be leading edge, and their outside processing capabilities were not as nice as ours. So very easy to set up to link, say like plating or painting or something like that that's done outside your operation. And we also provide the very nice paperwork, what we call a vendor shipment document. So at some point in time, you're going to have to take your product that you're working on, you got to bundle it all up, send it to somebody down the street. Somebody down the street does something to it and they send it back to you. You want to have some paperwork that goes with that. And we do a very nice job of that, of just kind of keeping track of the fact that, where is this thing? I started working on it and then I sent it to so-and-so down the street to, for example, I have a customer who does something with glass, and they cut the glass, they etch the glass, but for some reason, the frosting of the glass, they don't do. They send it to somebody down the street. That person frosts the glass, and then they do a couple other steps with it. It comes back in the plant. But they really like our outside process. And just a simple example.
Just one question on that. So when you send it out, I'm assuming you create a PO to whoever's doing the outside process for you.
That's
Um,
correct.
are you able to initiate it from the production order rather than from the purchase order?
Absolutely. That's actually is our preferred approach. When I get to the
Okay.
production order side of things, I will show you that. But yes, definitely, that is our preferred approach, is to link it directly to the production order.
Okay. Yeah. Because the system we're coming from, it doesn't allow you that, and that's caused some problems for
Yeah,
some customers. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Now, every once in a while we run into some folks who'll say, hey, I need to have very detailed instructions. So you could, you can just put it in notes if you want. But if you really want to have like, line 10, line 20, line 30, I want you to do these exact steps and they have to be done in this exact order. We can provide those kind of things. We also have tooling. We can keep track of tooling. We can schedule tool maintenance. We can also keep track of tool costing. So we have some nice functionality there. And then, of course, for the accountants out there, we got to keep track of some overhead cost. Don't want to ever forget those folks. We want to make sure they are able to keep track of their costs. So these are the key things that, most what we call discrete manufacturers. When you hear the phrase discrete manufacturing, that's lingo for, hey, I'm taking parts and I'm assembling them together to make something, or I'm taking parts and I'm cutting them and forming them and I'm making a product out of that. So very much we've got you covered to do a nice job with that. So that's a little bit about our bill of material. Let's talk a little shift now, and let's take a look at a production order. So a production order obviously needs a bill of material to make it, do its thing. So here is again another generic inquiry. Here is my favorite production order that I like to deal with here. Production order number 48 is to make my manufactured item. Couple things I want to draw your attention to. So a production order is everybody's got slightly different names for it. Sometimes it's called a work order. Sometimes it's called a manufacturing order. Sometimes it's called a production order. We happen to use the word production order. Now we do support a lot of different types. This is actually really cool. I don't want to camp on this too much, but I do want to emphasize this. So we can do production orders linked to projects. We can do production orders launched from MRP. We can do preventative maintenance production orders. We can do service repair production orders. We can do disassembly, which is actually really cool. I had a couple customers one time, they bring in things, they disassemble it, and then they take the parts and then they reassemble it into something else. So they ended up having a disassembly production order, and then they put the parts into inventory, and then they had a regular production order to build a bunch of things out of what they just disassembled. But we've got you covered. These are some key things that I again, a lot of other solutions out there don't have these built-in order types, which makes life, and you can create your own order types if you will. All right, so this is a regular production order. Couple different things, just real basic right here. The production orders, I'm going to make 25 of this manufactured item. Right now, this production order is in process. So you're looking at a production order that's kind of like a snapshot in time. It is scheduled. We do have a full scheduling capability. In this particular case, I'm scheduling it forward scheduling from this constraint date. So we've got that capability built in there. So much more to show. I don't want to get down too many into the details here. I think this might be key for some of you out there. I'm not sure everybody is into this, but Acumatica does a very nice job of linking production orders to sales orders. So this is the production order person. They're in their production order space, and they're looking out there and they can see that, oh, when I'm done with my production order 48, it's going to go. So here I'm building production order number 48. And when I'm done with it, it's going to supply sales order 7748, where they're going to ship from that. And let me just show you what it looks like from the salesperson's perspective. We'll go ahead and just click on the little pencil here, open up that particular sales order in question. So if I am a salesperson, right? I want the salesperson to see some things. I may or may not want the salesperson to be able to dive down into the production orders. But if I'm the salesperson, I can see, oh, here is what's going on. And here is the 25 that I'm making that are going against regular order 48. All right. So here is from the, if I am the salesperson, I can see I can see that I can see this production order and the quantity that's linked to that. So that's really key for those folks that are in the make to order, engineer to order type business. So just want to let you highlight that. Okay, I got to start moving on here real quick here. All right, so events, so important. These are these are the life cycle, so to speak, of a production order. A production order gets created. People apply labor to it. They apply material to it. They schedule it. They print off paperwork. They do all kinds of stuff. And all of these things are documented as they occur. So you can see that Andrews here did a material transaction. So this can be used in so many different ways: troubleshooting, training, so many different things, just to kind of know, okay, so great, the production order is in process. I know it's where it's at in the overall manufacturing process, but I want to dive down a little deeper. So on any one of these, we all know that the blue hyperlink represents, the ability, something I can click on. And here is an actual material transaction. Now, let's let you know, this material transaction could have been a result of somebody keying in these materials that were issued to the production order. They could have been scanned in using the mobile app. They could have been backflushed using the backflushing capability. So there's a number of different ways that this data can get in here. But the point I want to element here, and I want to highlight, and I want to scooch this over a little bit more. Okay. So here is my operation 10. Here's my sheet metal and my purifying filter were issued. Here's the location of the data, where it came. Here's the quantity of material, units of measure. Again, costing, if I have appropriate permissions to view costing. And then I want to highlight right here lot numbers and serial numbers. So Acumatica supports a full lot traceability, full lot tracking capabilities. And so if we had lot numbers in here, we would be able to see the actual lot numbers that they consumed on this production order. So we've got all of that capability built right in. Now, and let me just kind of show you here from a costing standpoint. Here is here's the costing that I've accumulated. So $2,106.25 of material were issued to this production order. Now, if I wanted to go take a look at that, I could come down here and say, oh, look, I've got my budgeted or planned cost on the production order, and show me my actual cost, and voila, there is that material cost that we were just talking about. So you can get right down to the nitty gritty of it if you wish, or you can just stay at the high level. Now, let me just show you real quick. One of the things I think that was key, you're looking at a production order called production order details. And some of you that are quick to observe things might say, didn't you just show this to me a little while ago? This screen looks really familiar to what you showed me earlier. Yeah, because it's the bill of material. But this is the production order version. So here's the item being produced. Here's those routing steps. And then here's the materials. Now, also, you have the ability, if you want to, we were talking about linking something. So I've got the ability right from here. If this was an outside process, I've got the ability to, and just go how those kind of connect together. I can create a purchase order directly for an outside process step. And I can actually create a purchase order for anything that I wish. Now, let me emphasize that as well here. One of the things that I like a lot, and I know a lot of other customers like, is this critical material capability. So here's my production order. Show me all the materials that are in the bill of materials. So now in Acumatica, in my little example, I've got materials tied to different operations. So that's why you're seeing these up other things. Notice The first two operations had the purifying filter. The second operation had an inlet, a water reservoir, and a housing. So just kind of want to let you know that. But the key thing is it's telling me how much do I have on hand and am I short of anything? I could, if I happen to be short of anything, I could launch a purchase order right here,
Okay.
right, and have that purchase order be launched right from the production order, and then it's visible. And matter of fact, I could even see it way over here. Like there's a lot of data here. All right. For those of you, if you wanted to, you could see if I had something that I had launched from a purchase order. Again, those would show up right here. Okay. So I've got the ability in a very easy fashion to be able to launch purchase orders directly to a production order if that was something that I needed to do. Okay. Or of course you could just issue material out of inventory. Your choice. You got lots of choices here. Okay. I also like the critical materials because I'm a big believer as a good best practice to check and make sure you're not short of anything before you issue something out to the floor. You know, the general, I think a good best practice is before you start printing off the paperwork and before you start issuing a production order out to the floor, you should, should check and make sure you got all the parts.
Hey, Munsell,
Yes,
back
sir.
on the production order, how
Mhm.
can I tell which materials are associated with which operation? So in Sage, it's you don't do that. It's all the materials are just for the the work order.
Right.
But it sounds like you guys actually assign the materials to a specific operation so that
Well,
there's
it could be, you, we have customers who will choose to just have all the materials tied to their first operation. They have a first
Mhm.
operation called picking,
I see.
and they just stick all the materials there on the first operation. That's that's a pretty common thing actually. But then I have a customer one time that makes boats,
Yeah,
and the first step takes 2 weeks, the second step takes a month, the third step takes another month. Well, they don't want to pull all the parts up front because it's going to be sitting around out on the floor for 6 or 7 weeks. So in their
right.
case, they do tie it to individual operations because their individual operations take so long. And then I've got other customers that they produce something, they go through all of their manufacturing steps in one day. Well, then it doesn't make any difference. You can just put it all in the first operation. But yep, very
Oh,
simple, it's pretty intuitive how you wish to go about doing it. So basically all you do is and here this is the production order ticket. Here's the barcoding capability, right? So here's that cutting step, and then here's the materials. Here's the gauge metal, and then here is the filter and all the appropriate barcoding stuff. So if somebody had this, I have a customer of mine, they basically print this off and then they go get the parts and then they go scan to specify what material is being issued to the production order. So they got to hit the barcoding scanner. Now in their particular case, they use a little barcoding gun. They find it a little bit. They find it's more ergonomic to do it that way than it is to try to use a phone.
I
So
have a quick question. Is
yeah.
this set up at all for RFID? A system where like if they were going to use an RFID scanning system rather than a barcode?
So if they wanted to do RFID, yeah, they could. I'm not the most verse on that, but
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah,
curious.
they basically would have to have the appropriate device for it. Yep, yep,
Okay.
exactly. Okay, okay.
just one question on
Yes.
labor. Is there any functionality to report by crew or crew labor reporting, where you
So
can kind of
you
group
can report if you want to do labor, you can report your labor. We do support setup time. We do support what we call run time. We also, if you don't want to actually have somebody report actual time, you can use do back flushing, but we certainly support all of those kind of labor reporting. We also, if now we don't actually report machine time by the machine. We basically say if you've completed X number of units, the system's going to automatically decrement the appropriate amount of machine time that you said it took to operate. So,
Right.
but did I answer your question?
What, I just think some of, Sage doesn't really have a mechanism to, like, if somebody works in crews on a certain operation, so, multiple people are working on one operation, they usually have to report each person's time, and then only one person claims the quantity.
We actually have a separate move transaction, which I usually like for that, because then you can just have people report their time against it.
Okay.
We do have we do give you the ability to have people, multiple people report against a production order. And then my recommendation is to usually do what we call a move transaction for when you actually report how many pieces are produced. That way one person's not responsible for charging that. That's kind of
Okay,
like,
so it could be
yeah.
separated out.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, that would
Yeah.
work. That's great.
Yeah. And now when you do the move, that's when you're moving it from one operation to the next, or you're moving it off of the last operation and into inventory. Okay, so now a couple things just real quick. We do support MRP. So for those folks that make sure I'm showing the right screen. Okay, so we do support MRP, material requirements planning. Oh, why is my screen not showing? Where'd you go? Okay, well, so much for that, but I'm not exactly sure what's going on with my screen there. All right. So we do support full MRP, material requirements planning. We have exception reporting. We do master production scheduling. We can handle forecasting. So all of those type of things that people expect to have with a material requirements planning system, we certainly support that. And of course, you can put your regeneration on a schedule if you wish. Another thing that we also support is advanced planning and scheduling. And that is this ability here to schedule your work. Push this out. Let me go out to the 21st. I've got some more production orders out here. Okay, yeah. So, and then what this shows me is for each production order, it shows me a Gantt chart type view. So like here in this particular case, I've got this particular production order, and I've got operation 10, I've got operation 20, and I've got operation 30. And the system's scheduling that, telling me you're going to start somewhere on the 10th here, and you're going to end up somewhere partway through on the 13th. All right. Also, it's at the same time when you're scheduling the eventual production orders, it's also loading them into your work center. So you can see here is my work center WC 100. And you can see for this week, it looks like, I didn't fill it up. I got to add a little extra time here, little extra time here, little extra time here. So I was not completely, my capacity was not completely taken up. So I could, here was my, and then here we are on the 14th. And then I can, so that's the capacity of that particular production order, what's been loaded into it. So you can see I'm not utilizing the WC 100 work center fully. I've got some downtime where it's just sitting around waiting for work to go through it. And then I can also highlight here, here is a production order AM 140 operation 20 is currently sitting in that work center right now. Well, actually next week. That's so it looks like if somebody wanted to come in and apply some extra production to this work center, it looks like these white spaces, I've got some availability. So that's kind of what we've got showing there. Okay. Okay, well, those are some of the key elements. I'm just looking at Joshua's notes here. I think I covered everything.
There was just one other, as far as like scrap, are you able to like write off the scrap amount or waste to a separate GL account, or is that just part
Absolutely.
of it?
Yep,
Okay,
you could certainly do that. We actually have a couple different means of reporting scrap. You can capture scrap in the production order itself, basically capitalize it. You can write it
yeah,
off to an expense account. You can also move it into an MRO place where maybe then they do some work to it and then they clean it up and then they put it back into the production process. So
okay,
we
yeah,
can support all of those. Yep.
perfect. Yeah, because in Sage you can only capitalize it. There's no other option. So yeah, that's a big thing as
Yep.
well. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then
Great.
here, oh, just real quick, this is an example of one of our dashboards. These dashboards are completely configurable. You would work with Josh's team, and they can just rearrange these things for you as you wish. You know, maybe this project status, maybe this little donut thing over here. You're like, oh, that needs to be moved. That needs to be up here in the top. Move it over there. And then take this and move it over here. You can do all those kinds of things. So. You can rearrange these things, and it's like a canvas. You can make it display whatever it is you want. And we've got a ton of these dashboards, and then you can create your own dashboards too. Big popular feature. I've been at customer sites before to where they actually have like this displayed in prominent places up on big screen TVs out in their production environment where they're displaying key performance metrics. So a big plus right here.
So yeah, I wanted to thank everybody for joining us today, and Mansell, appreciate you as always. That's
Yeah,
amazing. I love the red
pleasure.
squares. That was cool to. It's really good. It's a pro tip right there. I don't do that when I do my pre-sales notes, so that's awesome. And yeah, if you guys have any other questions, we'll certainly send this recording out for follow up. And really looking forward to kind of showing you guys more about what this product can offer. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.